This is how to quickly write any landing page. Hey everyone, today I'm going to share with you my simple 3-step process for reverse engineering almost any landing or sales page, specifically when it comes to writing bullet points. I don't know about you, but when it comes to headline writing, it seems to be a lot easier than when it comes to actually figuring out what the heck to put in bullet points or how to structure them. So I'll be going through that simple 3-step process. I'll also link up in the description to my personal swipe file. These are the landing pages that I seem to go back to time and time again when I'm trying to write new sales copy for one of our offers or working on a client project. So make sure you check out that link in the description. So this 3-step process is pretty simple. First, we're just going to highlight the key components to understand the sentence structure. Then we're going to pull out all of the unique parts of that sentence structure so we get a nice bullet point formula. And then of course, finally, we're going to plug in our own unique copy and anything that has to do with our actual products. And we go from someone else's bullet point to a bullet point that is primed and ready to go for our own offers. So with that, I think that's enough introduction out of the way. I learned my lesson the last time. This is gonna be short and sweet. All the examples are already ready. So let's go ahead and dive in. Now to go through the simple process for reverse engineering a landing page, we're going to be using a webinar landing page from Frank Kern, who I consider one of the OG digital internet marketers. So anytime you can find landing pages from Frank Kern, Ryan Deiss at Digital Marketer, or Eben Pagan, they are great examples to learn from as they are really good copywriters. And then in terms if you're looking for books or taking a deeper dive on copywriting, material from Jay Abram, Dan Kennedy, which I always recommend his Ultimate Sales Letter book because it's $13 and it gets you more than halfway there when it comes to actually writing sales copy. And then the Gary Halpert letter, which is less than $100. He's passed on, but his company still sells his copywriting training. So with that, let's go ahead, dive right in. You definitely don't need to pay a lot of money for a copywriting course. So let's go through the steps here. So the first step, of course, is to identify the sentence structure. And what I recommend doing is copying all of the text from the landing page, throwing it into a document like this one, and then just start highlighting. Don't think too much about it. So there are specific words that you want to highlight so you can start to deconstruct how the sentences are structured. Now, the first thing we want to do is, of course, decide what highlights mean what. So here is a legend of what all these highlights mean. So red is going to be power words. Blue is going to be some sort of deliverable or unique mechanism. Then we're going to have yellow, which is going to be a result or benefit. The green is going to be a common copy phrase that you'll pretty much be able to use with anything. And then we're going to have the purple or pinkish color, and that's going to be the verbs that represent the action the prospect is going to take. And so that's the first step you pretty much want to go through with whatever landing page or sales page you're looking at. Of course, you can come up with your own colors. There are a couple here that don't show up on this page, like gray for handling objections or purple for social proof. So once you've done this, the next step you want to do is, of course, identify whether you're working on the headline, you're working on some bottom disclaimer text, or you're working on your bullet points. I'm going to focus on the bullet points here because typically those are the hardest to come up with. So scrolling down, step number 2 is going to be able to start to deconstruct these and create your sentence frames. And we'll be going through 3 bullet points here, and we'll go through 2 examples of turning these into bullet points for a completely separate landing page. So the first one we have here is the first bullet point on his landing page, and that is how to grow your list, which is the result, up to 300%. Faster and larger are the power words, while positioning yourself as a celebrity. Being seen as a celebrity is a result or benefit that presumably someone would want who's interested in this webinar. So now what we need to do is pull out all of the unique words that are specific to the offer that's being made. And so you can see here we have how to, and we just put result, up to X%, faster and larger. I typically leave the power words alone until I'm actually rewriting the sentence as well as the verbs, while positioning yourself result. And so that's step 2. That's all you need to do for step number 2. So going in one step deeper here, so you're prepared for step number 3, you can see faster, we could have just as easily said bigger, stronger, easier. And so you want to come up with different synonyms or different words that would also fit in that sentence. It's going to be very helpful when you're moving forward trying to figure out how to take this sentence structure and apply it to your own landing page bullet points. So let's go ahead, jump into bullet point number 2 here. I'm going to zoom in a little more. There we go. Should have done that at the beginning. So bullet point number 2, a brand new marketing strategy that's converting more subscribers into buyers than ever before with 2 case studies. Yay, case studies. Everybody likes case studies, right? So what do? We're going to go ahead and pull out everything that's unique. So we're going to say a brand new, because you could say a brand new for pretty much any offer under the sun, almost any offer under the sun, unless you're selling typewriters, and there's probably not a whole lot brand new about it, right? So a brand new, then unique mechanism or deliverable, that's verb result, more result than ever before with, and then another deliverable. So when I say unique mechanism or deliverable, we're just giving a name to something that's going to be taught, or deliverable just means that it's something that's a part of whatever the offer is. And so with this particular example, it's a webinar. So the big deliverable is just the webinar, right? But what he's doing is he's picking out individual pieces and individual pieces of information that are on the webinar and pulling them out and showing them as separate deliverables, so it increases the perceived value as opposed to just saying, on the webinar, you're going to get this. On the webinar, you're going to get that. He starts pulling out specific sections. That's totally okay to do with your own products and services. So the only other thing I wanted to note here is converting. This could either be this is one of those examples where you have to get a little creative here and there's no right and wrong. So converting more subscribers into buyers, that whole phrase could be seen as just the result or benefit, right? Or we could break it down and say, converting is the verb or the action that someone's going to be able to take as a result of going through this webinar. So that might seem like OCD, and you might be thinking to yourself, Jason, that's ridiculous. Like, who really cares? But as time goes on, that's how granular and progressive you want to be when it comes to breaking down these sentences. So for our synonyms here, when it says marketing strategy, it could have just as easily said tool, method, formula, way, blueprints, secret. So I'm just giving you examples of how when you're breaking things down, you can start thinking about other words that you could easily swap out for the sentence. So now let's go ahead and go to bullet point number 3 down here. And so we have the 3-step formula for creating trust and authority so you can. I love that phrase. So you can is excellent because it always answers the question of why should someone care, right? If we just said the 3-step formula for creating trust and authority, okay, that's cool, but why do I want to create trust and authority? So you can sell more, which is the ultimate result. But you can't have bullet points that just every bullet point starts with sell more, sell more, sell more, sell more. There's a little bit of storytelling and a little bit of a process that you have to go through to show someone this is where you start, or this is what we're delivering, and this is how you get to the end result that you want, as opposed to webinar equals more sales. That bullet point's not really going to work, right? And so as an example here, the creating is the verb someone's going to be taking, and it could have just as easily been build, craft, design, forge, generate, transform, or achieve, or gain. Well, those last 3 are a little far-fetched, but something else that you want to keep in mind when you're coming up with your adjectives and your verbs is thinking about the context of your product. So let's say, for example, this bullet point read, the 3-step formula for creating awesome looking wood carvings so you can impress your friends, or something like that, right? Well, if we're thinking about carving wood or woodworking, verbs like craft, design, or build make sense because we're thinking about woodworking. But if we said forge and we're talking about woodworking, there'd be a little bit of a disconnect because forge would probably go better if we were talking about working with metal, right? Versus working with wood. So I know that's a silly example, but just keep that in mind in terms of the imagery that might be being projected or portrayed with your adjectives and verbs. So, okay, hopefully you're still with me. Go ahead and hit that like button if you are. Again, link in the description to the full-blown swipe file that goes into this detail with multiple landing pages. So it's really simple for you to come up with your own bullet points. So now let's go into step number 3. We're going to apply it to an offer. So I've gone with 2 examples here. One's meta and one's just way out there, right? So landing page swipe file. Let's say I was writing bullet points for the landing page swipe file that I keep telling you about. And then let's say we have some sort of lose weight product. So the first thing we want to do is take our sentence structure that we've created and start plugging in results, actions, benefits, and unique mechanisms of our own offer. So here we have, for our landing page offer, we have how to bump your conversion rates up to 30% or more while spending less on advertising. And I know this seems really basic. You go, Okay, is that really what we've been building up to? And the answer is yes, because hopefully this looks easy, because when you're staring at a blank page and you're trying to figure out what should my bullet point be, this is a very simple process you can go through so that the process of creating your bullet points are no longer a sense of headache and stress. So let's go ahead and take this example and do it for losing weight, right? So we could say how to force your body to burn up to 3 pounds a week or more while eating your favorite foods. Now, obviously, I'm not a nutritionist. That's probably totally BS, but I was just having some fun with these bullet points, right? So let's go ahead and go down. Just let me know in the comment section if I've lost you at any point of the process, or at this point I'm going too fast and you wanted me to slow down, because I am trying to keep in mind the feedback I've gotten on previous videos like this one. So here we have bullet point number 2. Let's say we're selling our landing page swipe file here. We have a brand new copy swipe method. And so something that's really great when it comes to writing your bullet points is giving names to things inside of your product or service. This could have just as easily read copy swipe formula or strategy, or named completely something else. We could have just said a brand new strategy, right? But giving something a name can help increase the perceived value of whatever you're offering. So here we have copy swipe method that's transforming more landing pages into conversion machines than ever before, and then in parentheses with 2 done for you templates. So hopefully you can see how we're literally just taking the structure that we've deconstructed and we're plugging in things that are relevant to our offer. So for our weight loss here, we have a brand new mobility routine that's eliminating more back pain than ever before, with 2 5-minute stretches you can do sitting down or do while sitting. Now I wanted to take a brief moment here, and in gray I have do sitting down, because probably something that would be a big roadblock to someone caring about mobility routines is thinking that they're not flexible, or they don't have the time, or they don't have the strength. And so by saying you can do 2 of these routines in 5 minutes, we're eliminating the objection of this is going to take way too long. I don't have time in my day to go to the gym, figure out my eating plan, and do some BS mobility thing. Like, I just don't have that time, right? So we're saying it's 5 minutes, so we're eliminating the time factor, and then we're also eliminating the experience factor, because it doesn't matter how advanced or how overweight or underweight someone is. I guess you can't really be underweight with a product. I don't know what I'm talking about here. So let's go back to overweight. No matter how overweight you are, chances are you can probably sit down. And so that's why I added this at the end. You can do sitting down to eliminate and handle any of those objections from someone who thinks they don't have the strength or the flexibility in order to do mobility exercises. So that's also something you can keep in mind. Definitely don't feel like you're locked in. You can add more to these formulas. So let's go through the last one here, bullet point number 3. The 4-point checklist for crafting. We could have just as easily said creating, building, designing, conversion-focused landing pages so you can launch new pages in record time. And in this particular example, launch landing pages in record time, we're talking about the time aspect. Time and money, or talking about a specific percentage or number result, is always very powerful to have at the end of your sentence. So let's go through a different example here. We could have just as easily said, so you can eliminate wasted ad spend on sending people to a landing page that sucks, or something like that. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing here, but you can see that we could have just as easily said, so you can, and then talked about a pain point, a different type of pain point in terms of money. So think of money or time or some sort of numerical value to a result someone wants to achieve. And we could have also just as easily said, so you can enjoy 45% conversion rates, right? So now we're talking about the specific result and giving a number to it. So those are 3 things you can always think about. Let's go ahead and wrap things up here. The 7 secrets for draining the stubborn brown fat so you can build muscle and lose weight at the same time. No, I'm not a nutritionist. I don't have the answer to that. I'm just having fun here. So the verb here we're using, draining. You can, when you're going through this the first time around, I probably would have gone through and said the 7 secrets for losing the stubborn brown fat, right? Going to a thesaurus, we could have looked up the synonyms for lose, and we would have seen subtract, right? So if we were to change the sentence to say the 7 secrets for subtracting stubborn brown fat, that technically would be the same thing as saying lose or draining, but draining gives a better image and is much more in line with with what's being talked about as opposed to subtract. All of a sudden people are starting to think about math and they're turned off about everything because almost nobody likes math class, right? So that's a little silly, but you do want to keep in mind the imagery behind the verbs and the adjectives. So go ahead, comment below if you have any questions about this process, and make sure you check out that link to my own landing page swipe file where I've gone through the process of step number 1 for you with all of the landing pages that I use on a weekly basis. I don't write copy every day, but on a weekly basis to really speed up the process for writing bullet points. So thank you so much for watching. Sincerely hope you got some value. Go ahead and comment below with your copywriting questions. Check out that link. And until the next, keep building the business you love.